1. And welcome back to Indiethon Fall Follies 2022. I am Ruffled Bricks. I'm going to be taking over hosting duties for the next couple of runs in this marathon. Before we bring you our next run, I just want to let you know that Indiethon is a tri-annual charity event showcasing all types of indie games. We're bringing you speedruns of games you may not have heard before to help support Caldwell children with their efforts to help disabled kids all over the world. For more information on our events, join our Discord server by visiting www.discord.indiethon.live in your favourite browser. Right now, we have another run for you. We've got Project Wingman by FalconLuma in the New Game Plus Mercenary Glass Cannon category. So, Luma, take it away.
Okay, so, yeah. Hi, I'm FalconLuma, and I'm showcasing Project Wingman for you today. I've been running this game for the better part of a year, focusing a lot on the glass cannon categories, for which I currently hold most of the records.
And I'm most Call Me Liz, but you can do what most people do and Call Me Liz. I first ran the game about a year ago. I have the record in a couple of the no modifiers categories, and I'll be providing commentary today.
Okay, so the category I'm running today is New Game Plus, Mercenary difficulty with the glass cannon modifier. So we'll be starting out with all the aircraft unlocked, though we're only going to be using one. We're playing on the hardest difficulty with the most aggressive AIs and reworked missions. And to top it all off, we're using the glass cannon modifier, increasing my damage by 250%, but in return I take 500% from any source. This means a missile will one-shot just about anything in the sky, and a gun goes from a minor nuisance to a serious threat. If we're ready on time, I'll count us in. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, so the plane we'll be using for the whole run is the PW Mark 1. Chat, tell me what PW stands for. Wrong answers only. It's only unlocked after beating the game and basically obsoletes everything else through a combination of extreme agility and ridiculous payload. It can outrun and outturn everything else in the sky, which makes it hands down the best choice for dogfighting. It has a gun that fires big old exploding shells, which is great against virtually everything, as well as the same dual standard missiles as everything else. But the real attractor here is the special weapons. The BML, which fires a huge swarm of micro-missiles at everything in sight, and the railgun, which can one-shot kill even the biggest targets in the game if you use it right.
Okay, coming to the first level here, Black Flag. So the general goal of any level is to destroy all the priority targets. Enemies in general are marked in green like this buoy here, and in a second you'll see what a priority target looks like, down there. Again marked in green, but also has a little red text next to it saying priority. On the minimap, priority targets are also marked with a little red circle around them. So also this level introduces a key concept to New Game Plus runs, which is the BML cycle. As Liz alluded to, the BML is a very powerful weapon, allowing us to lock on to up to 46 targets at once. But to compensate for this, it has the second longest reload in the game, somewhere around 40 seconds or so. So when we use it, we have to be we have to think a lot about when we use it, so we get the most use out of it, and we have it again when we want it later. So here, my first use of it would be against these aircraft. In general, aircraft get priority for being destroyed over ground targets, since aircraft are faster, more aggressive, and have a bit of randomness to their movement, whereas ground targets are generally static and all move slowly along a set path. Okay, one aircraft's 5, so I'm just going to wait for my railgun to reload and all dead.
Yeah, not worth getting in close to those flying boats because they have CWIS guns on them, which means that they can shoot you at just about any angle.
Yeah, so what I'm doing here, it may look like I'm just wasting time, but I'm waiting for my BML to reload so I can wipe out the rest of these enemies. I just straight up won't be able to destroy them all with my standard missiles and guns in the same amount of time, hence taking a little bit of extra time to wait ends up saving time overall. I've also purposefully left a few of these enemies alive to give the BML a little bit more time to reload for its next use, where I'll be using it to destroy a large number of aircraft all at once, using an AI manipulation. To explain this, when an enemy is, aggroed onto a target, it will generally take the shortest path towards it. In this case, that would be head-on. But this will be interrupted when a missile is fired at it, though this evasive state only lasts for a couple of seconds. what I'm going to do here is I'm going to line up my shot and just sort of sit in front of them. So as they sort of move up to evade, they're still trying to come towards me. Oh my god, I seriously got hit by a missile. So there, that's glass cannon in action there.
Oh yeah.
I'd normally be able to take 5 missile hits in... okay.
Yeah, and there are no checkpoints in this game whatsoever. If you fail, you have to start the mission again from the top.
Yes, thankfully it's not a particularly long mission, but... let's do it anyway. So yeah, that's a common threat throughout this game of glass cannon. Our only real counter to a missile is the maneuverability of the PW. It's faster than a lot of missiles and can generally outturn them. And on top of that we have the flares. Though these are on a 7-second reload, so you can't just dump flares whenever there's a missile. So yeah.
Yeah, and what's more, it only causes the missile to lose guidance. If it happens to get close to you, it will still detonate, so you have to maneuver while using them.
Yes. Yeah, I guess this is, since we're doing this again, what we have here is a ship, a warship if you will. In this case it's a cruiser. So ships are unique in that they have a number of weapons attached to them, and to be able to sink the ship itself you have to destroy all the weapons on it. Except the railgun. Railgun can just straight up sink a ship, ignoring any weapons on it, assuming you hit the hull of the ship rather than any of the weapons. This is used throughout to, well, quick kill ships. Okay.
Right, and this works for just about anything that has multiple different modules on it, but if you even slightly clip the hitbox of a module versus just the hitbox of the hull, it'll only knock out the module and leave the hull untouched.
Yes, and the hitboxes are fairly generous when it comes to the railgun, so often getting a hull shot is quite precise. Okay, this is not a great spread, but okay, doing I guess. Coming back to this section now. ML's in a good spot. Something else to talk about, I guess, is you'll see certain enemies have names. In this case, this 37 here had the name Panic 1. And over here we're going to have another one called Akumati or something of that effect. This named aircraft generally either have a stronger AI or some sort of extra weapon attached to them, which makes them more deadly than a standard enemy would be. So, dump flares.
And they're all Kickstarter backers. They all come from Kickstarter backers.
Yes. Okay, now that actually worked this time.
Alright, looks like that's all the aircraft cleanup, so we are about to go for the big tech in this run. It's called the Mission Skip Bug, and as you might imagine, it lets us skip missions. During the post-mission dialogue, or a takeoff or landing sequence, we can open the pause menu and skip that sequence using the skip button, which triggers a fade-out and then moves us on to whatever's next. However, due to developer oversight, during that fade-out, we can open the pause menu again and press skip again as many times as we can hit pause again fast enough. Eventually, the fade-out will finish while we're unpaused and force us to move on. But every extra time we hit skip, we skip another part of the game, another plane selection screen, another briefing, another entire mission. The fact that we don't play most of the missions doesn't matter, as long as we eventually reach the end of the game. You could say we still get credit for finishing any missions we skip. So we use this to skip a specific number of times to reach either somewhere we can start skipping right away again, or a mission that is fast or easy. Here we're going to aim for 16 skips, which will land us at a takeoff sequence at the beginning of the 4th mission that we can skip right away.
Yes, so just a second here and the level will be finished. Nice big white flash. Okay. 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, come on, nerves. Get rid of the nerves. Okay, that was good. We got there. Okay, we're slightly are we short or long? No, for landing that we are short, so single skip. That was Homestead's Landing.
Yep, we just want to make it as far as the next mission's takeoff for consistency.
Yes, yes, we fell. I was 1 or 2 skips short, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, when routing mission skip bug runs, it's very common to aim for the takeoff of mission 4, the takeoff of mission 17, places like that.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay. Come on, don't crash. Okay, we've got briefing. This should be clear skies. Come on. Yep, CIF 20, we're where we want to be. So, we're now in the 8th mission of the game.
Yeah, so 2 fun facts about the MSB. First, the optimal route, which only requires the first mission to be played, and other than that is only doing skips, does 66 skips from the mission for a takeoff. This has never been done by a human. And if you wanted to go straight from the end of the first mission to campaign over with nothing in between, it would take 127 skips, which is difficult even for a task. Second, the number of skips that you can possibly do seems to be frame dependent. If the game is running at 30 frames a second, you can only do about 40 skips in one go. But if it's running at 144 frames a second, you could theoretically do up to 150. Emphasis on theoretically.
Okay, so this mission, my objective here is to shoot down a number of transport aircraft, the CP-17s, while also shooting down their escorts. However, really, I missed them. There's a small complication. The Federation, who is the faction we are at war with, is trying to downplay the war. So they have not grounded any civilian air traffic and are using civilian airways to conduct military operations. This means there are a number of civilian aircraft dotted throughout the map. Accidentally shooting any of these down will cause me to instantly mission fail and have to restart the mission. So this poses an obvious issue with the BML being a long-range multi-lock weapon, where it could be quite easy to accidentally lock on and shoot down a civilian aircraft. For the most part, this mission is routed such that they are as little a nuisance as possible. Really? They're a little nuisance as possible, however it's not perfect as all aircraft have a big degree of randomness to their movement, civilians included. Okay.
Yeah, and they're also very fragile as well, even before accounting for glass cannons, so you really can't take a risk of getting one caught in the crossfire.
Yeah, it's also possible with large aircraft like CT-17s to hit the corpse of it, like I thought I almost did there. I must have been
close
away. Okay. Okay, I missed one with some 27s back here. Okay. Well, they're gone, but whatever. Okay. Do I have a clean shot? I do, yep. Come on, give me a box. Not everything I wanted, but it'll be good enough. The AWACS, yep.
Yeah, those AWACS aircraft, the FC-8s, they are one of the few things in the game that on glass cannon we cannot take out with just one missile. They have just enough health to survive one missile.
Missing everything, okay. Now that the last CT's here. Then we've got the FD-14s, still the fight for the mini-boss.
So one of the things we're going to see coming up here is airships for the first time. Airships actually have already been present in this mission as civilians, but we'll see some military ones that we have to shoot down. They are basically what if some Air Force guy looked at a battleship and said, "This is cool, but can you put honking big engines and some wings on it so we can fly it around?" And they are covered with modules like a naval battleship as well, which makes them quite threatening.
Yes, so, yeah, here we've got... Oh god, these things are giving me a heart attack. Okay. We've got one pilot left. Where is it? Where are you? There you are. So, yes, as mini-boss aircraft, these fighters have more health than usual, so it's more effective to gun them down. Just shoot down this last Latoria. Okay. Okay, it's 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay. Don't crash, don't crash. Okay.
So, there's a big risk with the MSB is it can just crash even if you get it perfectly right. Sometimes it just feels like crashing.
Yes, the route I'm using is a fairly safe route. My record is a 11:36. This route at best is about 14 minutes long because I've added an extra mission than I would usually do for a PB attempt, as the skip counts are much larger and therefore much higher chance of failing. And a failing most of the time will just straight up crash the game, have to reboot. You're probably somewhere you don't want to be.
In a 30-second time loss.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we've got a moment to explain the plot because this mission will kind of hit us over the head with it a little bit. So a long time ago, the Ring of Fire popped off all at once and near the end of the world. Unfortunately, the world got better. And in the years since, the Federation came to be the dominant power because it controls most of this new super powerful rock called cordium that produces enough power to put nuclear reactors to shame. This stuff is like drop the container and you will wipe a city off the map powerful. The nation of Cascadia has really substantial cordium deposits, but it's sick of it all getting heavily taxed and put towards military conquest by the feds, so war were declared. We're playing as crack fighter jock for hire rubber chicken in a G-suit monarch who is contracted to fight alongside the Cascadians for their independence from the Federation.
Yes. So this mission is similar in theory to the first mission, being heavily air-to-ground based at the start and transitioning to air-to-air by the end. And it's also very conveniently laid out for the BML cycle, with the many detached platforms just generally giving a good amount of time to reload between each one. Yeah, so in case it hasn't been obvious yet, these triangles that keep appearing on my HUD are missile warnings, with yellow meaning that they're in front of me, red meaning they're behind me, and their size indicating how far away they are.
Yes, something else we're seeing in this mission as well is these enemy railgun turrets. They don't work quite the same as our railgun. Our railgun is kind of hit it and it dies. The railgun, even if it hits us directly, it'll only do about half damage even with glass cannon. But it leaves this trail behind, and if you fly through the trail while it's still visible, it'll take chip damage, which can be not insubstantial with glass cannon.
Yes. So here I'm setting up for the boss fight. This is the first boss fight in the game which has multiple health bars and therefore multiple phases. So the first thing I do here is get rid of the air-to-air defenses or ground-to-air defenses on this platform, as I do not need stray missiles in a boss fight. We've already seen how they can ruin my day. Okay.
So, yeah, spear is enough of a challenge as it is.
Okay, I'm using dialogue cues to line up for a quick kill on the boss's escorts, as well as quickly completing the first phase. Railgun. There we go. Thank God for that absolutely absurd hitbox. Where's spear? There it is. Okay. And bosses generally have a sort of small duration of immunity between their phases. You'll see this when I finish phase 2. Yeah. You see it's gone from a square to an X, meaning I can't damage her for now. Hold on.
It's only a few seconds, thankfully.
Okay. So, okay, 21 skips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, hit a resume there, but I'm pretty sure I accounted for it. Yep, exactly where we want to be.
Alright, so this will be our last set of skips coming up, and if it goes well, we'll land right on the main menu, which will be the end of the run.
So yeah, time should be coming up, hopefully within about 30 seconds. Well, if you see essentially the time of day changing real fast, we finish the run. That will then likely be an indicator. Okay, 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, 20, we're short. That's a crash. Grey screen is crash. No, it's
yep,
Alt F4.
so there's the...
So it's Alt F4
there's the
and quick reboot. Okay, so we're either in the second to last or the final boss fight. Hoping for the latter, as it's a much shorter mission.
Either will have major spoilers, so if you do not want the game's plot, which is actually quite good, if you do not want the game's plot spoiled for you, now might be a good time to dip for 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay. Do we get a briefing? Or are we going straight? Okay, Presidia. So,
ooh, it's Presidia. Okay, so this is the second to last mission.
Okay. So this is, as long as this is Presidia, not Red Sea, and I haven't called this wrong. Okay, if this is Presidia, we're probably going to run... Okay, we're going to run a bit over estimate here. This is about a 7 or 8 minute mission, unfortunately.
There is a large dialogue sequence right at the end where there's very little gameplay afterwards, so if it comes to it, we could take the mercy kill once we hit that button.
Yeah, there's about a 4 minute, essentially a cutscene at the end where we just sort of fly around and there's dialogue that plays. So yeah, worst comes to worst, we can stop there. Okay, so this mission is, I guess, sort of your final test on all your skills. It starts out with a air-to-ground phase, which will be immediately followed up by a air-to-air phase, followed by a naval attack phase.
No, the naval attack phase is in the middle, isn't it?
Well, it's this is the ground phase, followed by the airships, followed by the naval, and then we have another short ground phase at the end.
Oh, right. I forgot about the airships in the middle.
Yeah. Yep, that's all of them. Okay. Yeah, that's good. So again, I'm focusing on fighters over airships, as well, I know where airships will be. They're fairly slow, whereas fighters are much faster.
Yes, they can always be getting behind you and firing missiles right where you're most vulnerable to them.
Yes. Okay, so well, that's an FC8, I'm pretty sure. Don't know where it is. Yep. Oh, okay. The BML or something's destroyed the Littorio already. That's nice and convenient. RCN, I'm not going to bother with a railgun on it. I'll save that for the 205.
Yeah, there are different classes of airships, and RCN is pretty low on the totem pole, and the 205 is the big boy. It's the big one.
Yes.
If you want something dead, you throw a 205S at it.
Yeah, whereas the RCN has like 4 or 5 weapons, the 205, which is now burning and falling into the ground, has about 15. So it's far more worthwhile to keep your heavy weapons for 205s if you know they're coming up, rather than putting on a small throw like an RCN and a Nora. Okay. Yeah,
and the weapons that are on the 205 are also more dangerous. Things like Sea-Wiz guns and multi-SAMs, which are kind of equivalent to our burst missile launcher.
Yeah. Okay, we're now going into the naval phase here. So there's a small soft lock here, which I'm going to avoid. If I destroy any of the priority targets, which is sinking any ships here, before a certain point in the dialogue, it won't progress afterwards. So, hit maintain. Okay, that was a great example of what the railgun can do. We just sunk the battleship there. Probably...
Sunk your battleship?
Indeed. Probably the most tanky of any ships, whether they be land, air or sea. So being able to just one-shot it like that is really convenient.
Yes, as for the softlock he was mentioning, this game really loves to softlock if you go too fast. It can happen just about any time there's a trigger of any kind. If you do something right as that trigger is happening, the game will very easily softlock. It's a real problem on the final boss, for example.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. 2 more cruisers and we're into the cleanup stage. Okay. Now I got that. Allies generally can be considered useless. They occasionally will get a kill, but for the most part they just sort of fly around doing not much.
Yeah, it's not uncommon for them to, all of them combined, only get maybe 2 or 3 things.
Yeah. It's pretty much a staple of Project Wingman and the Ace Combat series, which this game very much pays homage to, is that your allies are useless. You don't trust them.
They barely even draw aggro.
And when they do, it's in the worst possible time.
Yeah, and that even makes sense in canon, because by this point in the game, your enemies fear you as the Crown Mercenary. You've proven that you're just an absolutely lethal force on the battlefield, and they will just turn tail and run whenever you show up.
Yeah, pretty standard Ace Combat trope of, I guess, the monomyth. You start out as a bit of a nobody in the war, and by the end, you have single-handedly won the war. Okay, so at this point the gameplay in this mission is over. We're now into a 4-minute cutscene essentially, which will then be the end of the game.
Yes, and there will be big plot spoilers at the end of this cutscene, so if you do not want to see that, now is when you should cut out.
Ruffled Bricks, if you have anything you want to say, now would be an excellent time.
Absolutely. Well, I'd like to take this opportunity to just remind the viewers of a couple of donation incentives that we have coming up on the horizon. First one of which is the laundry hamper therapy incentive for Rumu, which is coming up a bit later. Laundry hamper is having the worst time of any appliance in the house, so let's give them a little love and reach our $100 goal for that one. Also, we have the Bring Back the Toys incentive for Subnautica, any percent glitchless. If you want our runner to find and take the toys to space with them, then please do get bidding on our $50 donation incentive for that one. Anything else you'd need me to cover for the moment, Falcon?
No, I guess I'll take this time to sort of plug the game and speedrunning Project Wingman and Ace Combat in general. So yeah, this has sort of been a little taste test of what Project Wingman has to offer. It in total has 21 missions. You've seen 4 of them today. And while this is obviously skips most of it, every one of our rule sets has a no MSB variation as well, where you play through the whole game. These are generally around 2 hours long, and personally I actually prefer no MSB categories. I just find them more fun, so yeah. So yeah, we have the short categories, the longer categories, plus we have ILs for every single category as well, every single level, sorry. And yeah, there's a pretty low floor to entry to these games. Pretty much do a casual playthrough and you'll have most of the skills you need to go. We have very few tricks, nothing insanely difficult that's like frame perfect or anything like that. Most of the frame perfect things actually will soft lock you instead.
Right.
Yeah, if you're interested in running Project Wingman, check out the Ace Combat speedrunning server. We share the server with all the other Ace Combat games. They're pretty much long lost cousins. So yeah, small community, but I mean, if you're interested, pop by, ask some questions. Yeah, everyone will be pretty friendly to you. And yeah, you can find the link on Project Wingman's speedrun.com page, as well as most of the Ace Combat games speedrun.com pages as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really exciting how low the floor is in this game, and yet how high the ceiling can be. Because I mean, the only real trick that you might not already be doing when you come into speedrunning this game is the rapid fire gun bug, which is if you mash the gunfire button instead of holding it, you can get a higher fire rate out of the gun.
Yeah, so this is the normal fire rate, and this is the rapid fire rate.
Yeah, and that's just the only crazy thing.
Yeah, and that's just smashing A on the controller. There's nothing fancy to it. Yeah, apart from that, it's pretty much all just weapon knowledge and execution. almost over now. I'll just be doing a bunch of skips and we should be finished. And yes, we're now in the city we were just flying over is now a hellscape.
Lightning with lava characteristics, you love to see it.
Well, that'll be far enough. And time. Okay. Bit of a shame we had to run over estimate, but considering we got the second longest mission in the game, I'm going to call 3 minutes over estimate pretty acceptable.
Yeah, that went pretty well, all things considered.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for having us.
No worries. GG's Falcon. Thank you very much for that wonderful Project Wingman run. Anything else you want to shout out before you go?
I think I've covered everything I want to shout out.
Excellent. Yeah. Alright, wonderful. Well then, we are going to take a short break, after which we will be bringing you some atmospheric horror vibes in the form of Concluse, being run by Dewhorse. So, going to be away for just a few minutes. Don't go away. See you in a mo.